Dear students, good morning to all of you. Welcome to this virtual class. Last period, we are discussing that is agriculture during the plants, features, problems, and policies. So we are discussing the features of the Indian agriculture. We have already discussed that there are several points of the features of that Indian agriculture systems. Subsistence farming to the commercial farming, increasing application of advanced inputs, including the machines, etc., as well as increasing the availability of finance from the different institutional sources, falling on land sizing holdings, increasing the shift of superior cereals to from inferior cereals, and reduce dependency on monsoons, low productivities. They are the different features we have already discussed. That is that how it is the low productivities, or we can say that when we are comparing the different sectors, disguised unemployments, lack of modern inputs, backward technology, all these points we have already discussed. Today we will start that agricultural policies. What are the policies? Next we will discuss the problems. So for the policies concerned, during this 5-year plans, government has implemented so many policies for the upliftment of the farmers or the tenants, which way the tenants will get that their own rights, and tenants will get that maximum advantages. So governments made the different programs or different schemes, and also it is implemented accordingly time to time. So these policies is classified into three categories. One is the technological reforms, another is that institutional reforms, another is that infrastructural reforms. It means agriculture policy we have classified into three parts. One is technological, another is that institutional, and another is that infrastructure. First one is that technological reforms. Technological reform means day to day time is changing. It means the technology also changing. So think yourself, with that people were using that piece of land to write or for that education. At present time, people are using that laptop or palm top or the different methods like that smart class, Byju's, etc. This is to be called that changes of technology in different sectors. Similarly, the farmers or the peasants, these people presently are using the latest technology. These technologies are, this is called that new agricultural technologies, are high yielding variety of seeds or HYVS, or we may say that what are the farmers are implementing in the process of the production to increase their productivity are to be called that new agriculture technologies. These are high yielding variety of seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, insecticides, water facilities or that irrigation facilities, which is that requirement of that power or power generation facilities or the electricity facilities. So by implementing these facilities, farmers are capable to produce maximum output. As a result of that output generates our national income or contributes towards our national income. It means if the productivity will be increased, naturally national income will be increased, per capita income will be increased, standard of living will be increased among the farmers. So that is why these agriculture policies were made by the government that time, how that farmers will get that maximum advantages. That was that first changes, technological reforms or technological changes. Secondly, institutional reforms. These policies are made by governments whenever government realized what are the problems are being faced by our Indian farmers that we have already known from the features of that Indian agriculture. Low productivity, disguised unemployment, subsistence farming, lack of modern inputs, small holding, landlord tenants conflicts, backward technology. These are the different features we have already discussed. So these features generates, innovates among the thinkers, among the political thinkers, how that farmers can improve their standard of living by increasing their productivity, by increasing their new innovations, new technology or implementation of new technologies. So these institutional reforms mainly, which is to be called that land reforms. I have explained here why that aims are to be taken into consideration in that land reforms or that institutional reforms. Whenever there were the three-tier systems during that British colonial system, that British governments, zamindars and the tenants or the peasants. So zamindar who was fixing that rent among the tenants or the farmers, and maximum rent was collected by the zamindar from the tenants, and few portion of the rent was given to the British governments, and those who are not capable to give the rents, that land was seized by that zamindars. So that these land reforms were the high on the agenda of reforms of the farmers, or how that farmers get that legally right to improve their standard of livings, or they can cultivate that land with that maximum outputs. That is why that first aims was that redistribution of land, because redistribution of land means the land should be distributed among the farmers or the peasants. Whenever we were discussing the different types of farmers, marginal farmers, small medium farmers, and medium farmers, and large farmers. So those who are the large farmers, they have the more than 10 hectares of lands, and those who are the medium farmers, they had that 4 to 10 acres lands, and those who have that small farmers, they had that 2 to 4 acres lands, and small farmers 1 to 2 acres lands, and that marginal farmers, those had that less than 1 acres lands. Among all them, there are some people, those who had no lands or landless farmers. So how these landless farmers will get that land? That land should be redistributed. Land should be distributed. It means if one person is the large farmers who had that more than 10 acres lands, he could not cultivate the land himself. He was giving the land to that small farmers or the landless farmers. That is why the aim was that how that redistribution of lands, that measures we will discuss in that measures. Safeguarding the interests of tenants, because tenants was always were exploited by the zamindars, by the landlords, because they were not getting that any kinds of facilities to improvement that lands or to get that ownership of the lands. So how they will get safeguard, that is called that safeguarding the interest of the tenants. Besides this, that time also there is that subdivision of lands or that fragmentation of lands. How that fragmentation of land, जो जमीन टुकड़ा टुकड़ा हो जाता, भाई भाई डिवाइड हो जाते, तो उस समय इस तरीका से फ्रेगमेंटेशन और सबडिविजन को कैसे हम एक जगह बड़ा प्लॉट बना सकते हैं. And with regard to that big size of lands, new technology can be implemented for the cultivation of the lands. That is why these are the aims or objectives: redistribution of land, safeguarding the interests of tenants, and preventing the fragmentation and subdivision of land. To fulfill these aims, we have to take all these measures, 1, 2, 3 to 6 measures. It will be in a systematic way which you can remember easily, or you can write in case the question comes in your exams. So first one is that abolition of intermediaries. Abolition of intermediaries means that intermediaries were zamindar. So how that zamindari systems will be reduced or will be abolished. All intermediaries interest on land in the form of zamindar were abolished by that act or rule of the government. So the peasants or the farmers were brought the direct contacts with the state. So the aim was to put in practice the principles land belonging to the tillers. That act or that amendment was formed by the government. So at present time, you may say that you are the owner of the lands, but actually the land is the government, or the land is the landowner is the states. State government is the owner of the land, but you are only that pen and paper, that is you are the owner of the lands. Today also that government was launched that one scheme, that is Swamitva scheme. So which way the farmers or the tenants or the peasants or those who are the landowner who are making the building, they will get the right, that they will get the card, which is to be called that Swamitva scheme or Swamitva Yojana by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, which was introduced in the year of 2020 in the month of April. Anyway, this is to be called that abolition of intermediate. It means three systems. One is that British governments, colonial systems. Another is that zamindar systems. Another is that tenant systems or peasants. So that abolition of that zamindar or direct in between the government and the tenants or the farmers, that is to be called that abolition of intermediaries. So it means the state or the government, they will direct contact to the tenants or the peasants or the farmers, so that the peasants can get that facilities. There will not be that any kinds of intermediate systems. So that is why at present time the government introduced that direct benefit scheme, DBS. It means what the government wants give the benefit to the people, that money will be transferred or shifted directly to that people accounts or to that beneficiary accounts. So there will not be any kinds of intermediaries who were taking the advantages. That was the systems which were introduced in that period. That is called the abolition of intermediaries. Second is that tenancy reforms. Second is that tenancy reforms. It means tenants means who that peasants or the farmers, or we may say that who is taking that buildings for the purpose of the rents. A number of measures were taken to protect the interest of those who work as a tenants. That is that aims is that safeguarding the interest of tenants. How that tenants will be safe, how the tenants will be secured. That is why government makes the different policies. That is the tenancy reform. First one is that regulation of rent. Regulation of rents. Before this, in the features of the Indian agriculture, we have already known that how much rent was contributed by the tenants to the landlord. Maximum that percentage of rent or the productivity which was given to that zamindar, and few percent was given to the British governments. So that whenever we abolish these intermediate systems, those who are the peasants or the farmers, how much they will give to the rent to the governments, either that is the some ratio, 1/3, 1/6, very nominal charges at present the farmers are paying to the governments. That regulation is to be made. That is to be made how much the rent is to be paid by the peasants or the farmers to the government. That was decided by the governments. Next is that security of tenures. ये बात नहीं है तो आज आके बोलते हैं कल मकान छोड़ दो, कल बोल रहे तुम जो कल्टीवेशन किया तुम कुछ नहीं मिलेगा छोड़ दो, वो नहीं हो सकते. So that a tenant cannot be evacuated from his land as long as he does not default on payment of rents. If any tenants will be defaulters for certain ground, if he is not able to pay that rent, that time we may say that you leave this room, you leave this land. But until unless he is not the defaulter, then we could not say that you evacuate this room or you evacuate this lands. So government make the different provisions. So tenant cannot be evacuated from his land as long as he does not default on payment of rents. So at present times we are also doing that some agreements for this security of the tenures or security of the tenants. Next is that right to purchase land. It means that peasants or the tenants who had given the right, that tenant can purchase that land who is cultivating that land. It means if the landlords want to sell that land, if the landlord wants to sell that land for any reason, that time the tenants will have the first right to purchase that land. That is to be called the right to purchase the lands. If a tenant have been continuously working on that piece of land and on certain ground, if the landlord wants to sell this land, the first right is that the tenant will purchase that particular land because he has been continuously working on that piece of land. That right is given to the tenants. That is to be called the right to purchase the lands. Third one, compensation of improvement on land. Sorry, fourth one, compensation of improvements on land. Compensation of improvement of lands, because on that features of that agriculture's low productivity, that farmers or the peasants were so weak, so for their financial conditions they were not properly looking after or care that particular plot of land, because they have that lack of finance facilities, so that they could not take the steps for the improvement of land, like that boundaries, like the level of the lands, like to implement the new agriculture technologies, so that what are the finance required by the farmers or the peasants, that compensation the peasants will get for the improvements of the land, which way the land fertility will be increased, the land's productivity will be increased, that expenditure, that much expenditure they will get that compensation, that is to be called that compensation for improvement lands. So landlord would have to compensate him for this improvement of the lands, that peasants will not spend all that money for that improvements of the lands. How much that improvements of lands will be expenditure, that much will be given to the peasants as a compensations. Next one, ceiling on land holdings. Ceiling on land holdings, or somebody else written it, so land ceiling. Land ceiling means क्या है? The fixation of lands. It means you are aware of that sometimes you say that we have that ceiling fence. Ceiling means here the fixation of a particular place that cannot be shifted from one place to another place, or that cannot be movement from one place to another place. So ceiling on land holding means whenever, I have already said that there are the different types of farmers: marginal farmers, small farmers, medium farmers, and large farmers. So whenever the large farmers, they are not capable to cultivate the land particularly for themselves, so that these types of the farms, this type of farmers, large farmers, they are occupying that more hectares of lands or more acres of lands. So during the chief minister meeting in the year of 1965 or 62, like this, I exactly could not say, it was discussed general meeting that one person could not occupy that more than some 5 to 6 acres lands. So those who have that more than that acres of lands, that lands should be fixed by a particular person, then that excess land should be redistributed among that landless farmers, that is to be called that ceiling on land holding or land ceilings. Any surplus of this ceiling to be surrendered to the state, the surplus land redistributed among the landless farmers or the landless agricultural workers who have no land. These people, they will get the lands from that government. That types of act are to be made by the governments, and the maximum areas of the land has been fixed by that law as per that government decisions. So if any person who have that more than that acres of land, that land should be sealed, and that maximum land should be surrendered to the state, and that surplus land would be distributed to the landless farmers or that landless agricultural farmers, that is to be called that ceiling on land holding, or it is called that land ceiling. Then next is the consolidation of land holding. Consolidation of land holding. It means land has been enacted by to prevention or that subdivision of holdings. Preventing fragmentation and subdivision of holdings. It means I had already said when that one father, he has that 4 sons, he has that 5 sons, then that lands will be divided among that 4 sons or that 5 sons. So how that should be checked and how these lands are to be in one place for the farmers, so that one farmer can look after all these lands, that is to be called that consolidation of land holding. It means the fragmentation and subdivision of the land holding should be checked. That means suppose a person who has the land, A is a person who has the land like this, here is that A and here is that A, or it may be that B, it may be that C, it may be that D, here is that B, it may be that E like this, or it may be C like this. So these are the different acres of the lands. It may be F. So it means the government tries these people of that A people group of lands that should be united in one place so that he can look after all these work at a time. That is to be called that consolidation of land holding. It means pull together land from the different places is to be called that consolidation of land holding. All the scattered pieces of land, all the scatter place. Here is the A is the scatter one place, here is the A is the one scatter place, here A is the one scatter place. These 3 scatter places will be united at one place. That is to be called that consolidation of land holding. So as a result of the land will be that big size so that the farmers can implement the new technologies, that output will be increased. That steps were being taken by the government, which is to be called that consolidation of land holdings. Besides this consolidation of land holding, there is that one step which is called that cooperative farming. Cooperative farming. It means the farmers, they will cultivate that land, join together. In the systems of farming, farmers pool their land individual. Farmers keep ownership right on the respective piece of land and they cultivate the pooled land on single holding and distribute the profits among the members of the society. Basic advantage is system that small farmers can also enjoy the advantages of large scale of that operations. That is to be called the cooperative farming. It means suppose A is the person, B is the person, C is the person, and D is the person. That land will be pooled by together one B person, and he will cultivate the land of this 4 acres land or 4 hectares lands, and he will use that land for implementing that high yielding variety of seeds, fertilizer, pesticides, and he will cultivate himself, and whatever the profit will be in that plot of land, that profits will be distributed among these 4 ones. That is to be called that cooperative farming by the joint corporations. Next one is that computerization of land records. Computerization of land records. It means previously there were systems, might is right, the big man or that landlord who is unauthorized occupied that tenants' lands, because whenever the tenants or whenever the peasants they are they are actually require that some money, and whenever they need that money they were going to the landlord and landlord was taking their lands, so that after few months or few years that landlord was the owner of that lands. That is why the farmers were pouring day by day. So that is why that land record will be on behalf of the government computerizations. Any person or that landlord person, he could not take up his land without any registration. So that is why we make that different policies. All the records will be on that computerization, not that manuals. So these are the different technological changes in our land agricultural policies. So measures, abolition of intermediaries, that is that one, tenancy reforms, regulation of land, security of tenants, right to purchase of lands, and compensation of improvements made on land, ceiling on landholding, consolidation of landholding, cooperating farming, and computerization of land records. Besides this, there is the third wave policy is infrastructural reforms. Infrastructural reforms. Infrastructural reform is that setting up the financial institutions. Financial institutions we have to establish. We have to make the different financial institutions. On that day I was asking about the nationalized of the banking systems, regional rural banks. So a large number of new branches, public sector banks in rural areas were established, which way the farmers will get the loan easily and they will get the loan of that particular bank that government established, that these types of rural banks. Large number of regional rural banks will provide the loans to the farmers whenever they need, because farmers have no time to go to that bank again and again to fulfill that different kinds of formalities. So to get that more loan or credit facilities of farmers, government provides this, establish that different kinds of rural banks as well as different kinds of public sector banks. Next one, that setting up marketing agencies. Setting up marketing agency. At present also farmers are facing these problems. It means whenever the farmers are producing the product, they are not capable to sell their product in the markets. So that government established the different market agency. Among all them, Food Corporation of India was established and regulated the market, cooperative market agriculture products, and also government fixed that prices, that is that support price for the farmers. Below that price the farmers will not sell these goods in the market, as well as the farmers will get the benefits. So different kinds of, at present we have started to establish that cold storage system, which way that farmers can store their products for the future date whenever that excess product or that surplus product was being done by the farmers. Setting up that public distribution system, with regard to that we say that setting up that public distribution systems, it means public distribution system. Government will make the different policies, that is PDS. The public distribution systems has been set up through the fair price shops, Uchit Mulya Dukan. Essential commodities are made available to the consumers at government fixed prices, which way that government will supply that price to increase the standard, supply that goods, essential goods, for that upliftment of that poorer section of the societies. That is why government fixed that maximum support price for the selling of the goods, as well as that fair price shop, Uchit Mulya Dukan, that is that PDS. It means in this point you may write that one is that PDS, public distribution system, through that fair price shops, as well as to sell that products, bumper products, whenever the farmers will produce their bumper product, that time that government take that minimum support price are announced before the commencement of the sowing the season, so that the farmers will take initiative to produce their products. So these prices ensure a minimum return of the farmers, hence help to subsidize that some extent of the farmer, or it will help to the farmers take initiative or to increase their incomes. These are different strategy we will discuss also later on, new agriculture strategy tomorrow. So these are the different policies, technology reforms, institutional reforms, and infrastructure reforms. Tomorrow I will start new agriculture strategy. Please go through your books. Thanks to all of you.